Yo,
Yo,
what's going on, man? What do we got going on today?
well, I don't know. It's a bonus recording because you're supposed to be at work.
True, true. Luckily, I
So
got the day off.
this is an extra one. So I'm not prepared as I wanted to be.
It's fair. Is that a New Jack
So
City shirt, by the way?
yeah, I'll show you the shirt every day. Some Nino
Oh
Brown action.
man, you know what? I disagreed with you the last episode. I think maybe you do have the best shirts. Just to be
Yo,
fair,
this is nothing, homie.
that's pretty killer.
It'll keep going. I'm so excited to show these things off. I have so many. So I switched my book. Hold on, I switched my books. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, I
Did
think
you
you
ever read
sent me
it?
that one. No,
Do you even have it anymore?
I think it's at my mom's house. Maybe
All right. Well, I'm gonna read that one.
you gonna read it, like the whole thing,
Yeah, I'm gonna bang through it before the next episode.
like on the air. I'm just
No.
messing around.
And then this one is this is my dude for president right now.
Okay, the Great Reset.
Yeah, Reckenwald is running for Libertarian Prez.
Do you like what's that book about? Like the Great Reset? Because I've heard about the Great Reset, but I'm not sure it's the same thing that
It's the
Mike was
one you're
talking
thinking
about.
about,
Gotcha,
banks and all that shit.
gotcha.
But let me bang it out because I want to get it done before the convention because that's when they pick. So right now he's my guy, but I don't know how the convention's gonna go.
Gotcha. Well, let me know when you
There's
finish
a,
it.
there's a, it's gonna take a second, so I'll have it done in time though.
Right on. Um, yeah. So, what do you want to talk about today? I don't like always like
Bring
jumping
up
over.
the Red Lobster shit.
Okay, let's talk about Red Lobster.
As long as I used to work there,
I remember. I used to hang
a
out
bunch
there.
of us used to work there. Yeah, 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 good times.
Yeah, my man James. Hope he's doing well. I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, so while you can't find this, even though you have it pulled up,
I got it.
so RL went out of business. Like a bunch of the restaurants, like just closed. Not like we're closing in a month. It's just over.
Like abruptly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They went through Mother's Day, which is like one of the busiest days of the year. I think it is the busiest day of the year at Red Lobster. And so they tried to, have one last go at it, I guess. And it didn't work out. It's under a different company. When I worked there, it was under a company called Darden.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
And
Darden. Don't they own
yeah,
like
they own
Outback and all them, or is that?
no, but I know they own like Bahama Breeze, a bunch of southern chains.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
sounds right. Because a lot of those corporate chains, they have like these parent companies like Darden, and then there's another
yeah,
one that's
Darden
really
owns
big.
owned like 10 or 7
Yeah,
or
they
8
own
at
a
the
bunch of
time.
them.
But anyway, they sold it to somebody else like 8 years ago, and I guess they're blaming it on the endless shrimp.
Okay.
But let me tell you about the endless shrimp. It's not like you get it quickly, right? Like you order three shrimp things. So it's either fried shrimp, scampi shrimp, the shrimp alfredo pasta, and like popcorn shrimp. But this is a while ago. I'm not sure how it is now, but say hypothetically, it's probably close to the same. And after you eat your initial like basket, you ask for another one, and then they bring you 10 more of one of them or one whole pasta.
Oh
And
wow.
then you have to order another one. You can't order like 10. Like, I just get bring me 10 scampies. Bring me 10 tens, you know what I mean? Or bring me 10 orders of fried shrimp. You get 10, and then you ask for more, and then you have to wait for the kitchen. Then you get the 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but my initial question is if they were losing a lot of money, it's doing this practice, why would
Well, it's
they
only
continue
one.
it?
It's only once a year. It goes on for like a month.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
it's a promotion.
But even still, if this is costing them a ton of money and it's not profitable for them, why would any business want to do something like that that isn't
Well,
profitable?
you got to think about it back when. Remember, RL was like different when we were younger. Red Lobster was expensive, a little classy. You took a date
You know, it
there.
was more prestigious than
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Now it's like
Like
the
you
McDonald's
went
of the
there on
city.
Easter and shit.
Yeah, it's like a step above like Long John Silver's nowadays, except you can like
No,
you
no, it's a
know,
little bit higher than
yeah,
that, but
yeah,
not
you
much.
get a server and stuff, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not comparing it to fast food, but yeah, it's definitely a step
Dude, I
above
worked
that.
there. I mean, it wasn't like that much shit was really fresh. I think the only thing that came fresh was the oysters, right? The big fucking crack them open with the machine things,
Right.
and then like the trout. Everything else was frozen.
I always enjoyed the
And when
biscuits.
the lobster, a
Oh,
live lobster.
right, right. Yeah, those biscuits
Everything
were
else
the
came in
jam.
frozen, dude.
Um, so yeah, if anybody has a craving for Red Lobster, you might want to get there soon.
But in addition to that, which is why it's kind of a big deal in the stock market and things today, is that Walmart is closing some stores, and also like places like Cracker Barrel are slowing down and closing doors. And some of it has to do with they're making everybody like Walmart corporate is closing some corporate offices and like making everybody start coming into work again because production's down because everybody's home
Right.
half working. That's just what I heard. I'm not sure how true it is, but it was on the report today. But Red Lobster's done so.
I saw a lot of things like you mentioned Walmart. Like I saw a lot. Is Walmart, Target? Like I hear they're pulling out of all the major cities. I don't know if
Well, that's different.
I
That's a
know that
different reason.
has something completely different, but they are closing stores.
Well, yeah,
Is
that's
what I heard.
happening. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our buddy in San Francisco told us all about that.
So yeah, so something wild here that I've never seen really anywhere before. Like if you go into Walgreens, CVS, anywhere, it literally does not matter. Everything is locked up. Like I went to buy deodorant yesterday, I think at a CVS down the street from me. It's locked. You have to get an employee to come and open up the door for deodorant. It's like it's wild, and they have this for like for a lot of like silly things. You know,
Yeah,
things that like you normally wouldn't expect to see locked up. I mean, they're not like super expensive electronics or anything.
I bet you the Walgreens across the street from Silver Spring locks up a lot of their shit from
Yeah, I
from
guess
my old
maybe in the
spot.
bad areas, but
Well, it's a place that's bad enough that people would do that there. It's close enough to the metro and all that shit.
I mean that's a whole other topic in itself. I mean, we'll get into all of that with like the wealth gap. But why are these people all of a sudden, stealing all of these? Why is mass theft all of a sudden a problem? Um,
It depends on the state because the law is if you don't like I know in California, if you don't steal over well, until it's grand larceny, they don't even the cops don't even respond to the call.
I think that's part of it. Is yeah, the lack of
There's no incentive.
consequences. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
consequences
there's
really.
the incentive is the risk is worth the reward in their head,
I
and
think
they're
it's
getting
a
away with it.
yeah. I think it's more than that. I think there's a couple factors that go into it, but yeah, you're right. That's definitely one of the factors. All right, so yeah, Red Lobster going out of business. That's
Yeah, just some
unfortunate.
memories that means a lot to us.
No, I haven't eaten a Red Lobster in years, but that sucks for
No,
everybody who
it's
likes
no
Red
because we
Lobster.
worked there. Because I worked there for a minute, and so did a bunch of people that we know.
Yep.
So I met Eddie and James. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I love those guys. Good people. So, so this London thing. Are you done with Red Lobster?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you
yeah. You can go to the city of
Okay.
London.
So yeah, I know we were kind of briefly chatting about this the other day. I'm not 100% sure what is going on there, but maybe you can
All right.
let me switch it over. Go ahead.
I jumped into it quickly because the thing you sent me was really interesting. Do you show the mayor?
Yeah.
All right, this guy. So
Look at this. Look at this guy. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. I don't know what that
the
is, but
city of London is 1 square mile inside London.
so it's like a city within a city?
Yeah, it's almost like a caliphate. You know what that is?
No.
It's like a country inside of a country. Like you're surrounded completely by your enemy, but it's still your territory.
So it's like similar to like the Vatican and Rome. or
Yes and
like
no. Think of
DC
it
in the
more like
United States?
it is its own state. It is one of the things that it's so old that it's just kind of been. You know what I mean? The city's that old. It's like the 2,000-year-old area that just has a, its own weird rules. Like only 8,000 people live inside the district, but like 400,000 come in there to work every day. It's like a financial hub. It's like how London is super smart at banking, but it's technically offshore
So is it
because
similar to like Silicon
it's a
Valley but
different.
London version?
No, it's like the Cayman Islands offshore.
Okay.
It's a whole different. It's not part of UK. England does not own it. It owns itself. It has its own police force. It's its own state inside of a state. It's a city that's a state inside of a city inside of a state that's inside of a country. You know what I mean?
I'm following you so far.
Like a caliphate is basically surrounded by your enemies. But if you look at a map over in Eastern Europe or parts of the border between India and Pakistan, you'll see spots that the other country owns, but you have to get through a country to get to it, even though it's your property. Like in Europe, there's right north of the Baltic states, Kaliningrad. It's Russian, but there's states in between it and Russia. It's
So
got a
they're not
coastline,
geographically connected, is what you're
right? But
saying.
it's got a coastline, so Russia can, technically get to it. But think about it's like a landlocked country, but everybody around you is your enemy. There's even one in Asia somewhere. And there's a country whose enemy has a caliphate, and then the original country has a caliphate inside that. So it's
Okay.
like, you know what I mean? It's like the cereal bowl is with the country, then the Cheerio is a country, and then the hole in the Cheerio is the bowl's country.
I'm following. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
It's
interesting
borders.
that they have territory within other countries' territory inside. Yeah, it's weird. That's weird.
Right, and there's horrible conditions, and everybody's starving and dying, obviously. But anyway, so this dude, City of London, it is it's it's how they do their dirt. It's a financial offshore central banking, working with the Bank of England type of thing.
So are they like laundering money through this caliphate?
Yes and no, because they're their own. It's not really laundering. It's like laundering. It's like in the open but illegal.
So how do they get away with it if it's wide in the
How
open?
do how do ba- how do it's think how do bankers get away with all the crazy shit they do? It's like super versions of hiding money.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, how do
It's
they
like,
get away with this stuff, and why do we allow it?
well, because like it has to do with one, you can keep doing sub companies and sub LCCs or LLCs and like make this spider web of front companies to get the money through. And you can't trace it somehow. I don't know. I mean, this shit happens all the time. I'm not a financial expert. Because if I was, I'd be in that line of work. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I believe that. Who knows
Yeah, there's a
what's
certain part I can get to with
going
all
on
this
behind the
shit.
scenes? Who knows? Well, some people know, but I don't know.
But they were taking drug dealers' money, arms dealers' money, cash in general, and then flowing it in and flowing it out. People are buying gold and they're moving the fucking money around the world. You know what I mean? But they're taking everybody's income.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, that doesn't sound
Yeah, it
like
has to
something that.
do with like America hates when other countries have our bills because they're supposed to be able to cash them in for gold, and we hate that because they
Mhm.
can't do it anymore, obviously. But like, it has to do with
Like exchange.
how they launder.
Interesting. And by they, I'm assuming you mean the bankers.
Everybody.
Swimming in it. I love to dive around in it like a porpoise.
So it's 1 square mile. It's called like the square mile or whatever. That's what it is. And I believe London, one side of London Bridge is in it too. But anyway, like 8,000 people live there, and then all the super smart financial analysts come in there because when England lost, like World War One or a little bit before that, when they started losing their power around the world, they became a financial hub. That's why they call it the Second Empire, because they became a money, central banking, gold, cash hub, right?
Okay.
And the city of London allowed them the same kind of benefits that the Cayman Islands like does, but even a little bit more crooked
Okay.
or under less scrutiny, I guess I should say.
So they basically just set up shop there at
Yeah,
that
well,
time. At that time.
it's a way to, yeah. So it's just the way that anyway. So that's how they use it. So instead of having it in the Cayman Islands, it happens to be inside London. And then the rest, so the people vote for that dude, the guy in the fucking carriage. But he doesn't mean anything. It's just like a position. And there's like certain ways
He's
you
the
have to
face
get
or
there.
like a front, like the front
It's
man.
it's a circus. It's
Well,
just
all of
tradition.
this is a circus.
It's 2,000-year-old tradition. And so, oh, I'm an idiot. So this is how it like started, right? So William the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy, right? Think English European history, whatever, like 1066 ish. He comes over to that bitch. He takes over the back in London, then fights to be the king. He becomes the King Duke of Normandy. Boom. William the Conqueror, right? Conquered that shit.
Hmm.
So when he got to London, think of like the Gold Guild, the Carpenters Guild, the Silver Guild, the all the guilds, right? All the guys who controlled how the city kind of worked and the trade. That is where they live now, in the city of London. So, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So are they like all in like cahoots, so to
It's
speak?
no,
They all
well,
kind of
well, yeah, but
they kind of
the
work together.
entity, yeah, but the entities that control the city of London and what it is, it's the guilds, the craftsmen organizations that started the city itself. That's how the city's so old it just is. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
That
So
so
so they have different rules, you said, right? In this
yeah, because I'll get
different
to it.
laws and all that.
Yeah, so there's like 107 of the guilds, 127 of the guilds, but some of them are like nonprofits, but some of them play the game and they own a bunch of companies and they own a bunch of money and wealth and yada yada yada. So so how the votes work is like the 8,000 people who live there get to vote. And then there's a bunch of other votes that are divided amongst the companies depending on how powerful the company is.
So and these
You know,
votes, these are to elect officials
yeah, and do all the things that they
or do
do.
whatever they want to do,
It's
pass
like
new laws and all
it's
that stuff.
like it's a company. They call it the company. It's like a company, city, independent state of all the old time guilds who launder money for the.
So they're all in cahoots doing shady stuff with basically no regulation. Because like you kind of just said, they can elect whomever, they can change those
Well,
laws.
the mayor is useless. He doesn't really do anything. He's a figurehead. The whole little situation's a figurehead. They have like a sheriff, but it's like you know what I mean. It's not like
Yeah, it's
it's
like just on paper. Like, hey, here's our sheriff. He don't really do anything, but here he is.
yeah. They have like their own police force. Like it's like a different police force in the city. I mean, DC has like 27 different police forces. If you count the FBI, the ATF, there's like 27 different active local and federal police agencies in the District of Washington.
What's
So you can
ATF,
get
by the
arrested
way?
by 27 different
Alcohol,
fucking
tobacco, firearms.
yeah ATF. Should
Okay.
be a store, not a fucking company. Haha.
It certainly sounds like one, or like somewhere you go and get money, like an ATM or something like that.
Yeah, but you can go to London and take a tour through the thing, and the guy will be like, "This is the city of London. This building is 8,000 years old, and this guy is this, and this is the guy who did this." And they'll give you a tour. They just don't tell you the behind the
Behind the
curtain
scenes.
of Oz.
Yeah, you get like the surface level truth. Sounds
Well,
like
yeah, it's like getting a
mainstream
tour through
media
the
to me.
Capitol. It's like getting a tour through the Capitol building in D.C. You know what I mean? This
Right.
is the White House, and this is this, and this is the Cannon building, and then bingo bango, you're gone.
Right. Well, that makes sense to me. It sounds I don't.
It's just,
It,
it's interesting.
it
I mean, I didn't get a
sounds.
chance
It
to
is
look into it
interesting. That's for
enough.
sure.
You just told me like yesterday, but I got into it. I jumped in a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, the video I saw, the one that I sent you, obviously was talking about them not having
Yeah,
a regulated financial system. If
yeah, I found that dude. His name is Richard Wren, Wrenn. Maybe he's a German economist, and he was giving the one dude he was talking to, the older guy with the glasses in that video. He actually is a part of the city of London.
okay,
So when the guy that you saw, Richard Wren, is telling them everybody about how fucked up the city of London is, that guy's like, "Oh, surprise to me," because he's trying to cover for this fucking thing. But I found the whole interview. It's like 27 minutes.
how do you spell his name? His last name?
Wrenn, I think, Richard Wren.
Let me see if I can find it.
It's Richard Wren's City of London is the how I found it, and you just got to find the right
Well,
one.
he's a Brit, right?
Nah, he's German. You can find the video real quick. If you just do the guy's name and the city of London, you'll find the clip.
Yeah, I just want to like show it real quick, just in case anybody's interested in looking him up.
Oh no, it's really interesting. Even that little clip that you saw, you can find. It should be right on top of YouTube. But again, the city, it's real interesting. There's 7 ways in. Roads, 7 like the actual roads in. Each one is marked by like a big cement dragon to
Oh, that's
mark
cool.
like the like a little gateway in. And it's true what he says about the Queen, because it's a different country. The Queen of England has to stop at the edge, and the mayor's got to come out and be like, "Come on in."
Yeah, she's got to ask permission to get into the city of
Yeah,
London. That's what. Yeah, that's
yeah.
what he was saying, and that you confirmed is true. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You want to hear a fun fact I learned when I was trying to check out William the Conqueror? I ended up going down the chain of like all the kings of England, and Richard the Lionheart and Prince John and Robin Hood and all that little story.
Yeah, yeah.
The way the line of progression ended up working out was that Prince John, the dickhead, one of his kids ended up being king, and it went down that path, as opposed to Richard the Lionheart because he didn't have any sons or something.
Oh, so everybody
So
got screwed
yeah,
because Prince
so
John
yeah,
had kids and King
Prince John
Richard.
had the right son.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
We should name all toilets Johns in his honor.
Prince John. Yeah, one of my favorite movies is still the Disney Robin Hood.
That's a good one. It's one of my
It's
favorite Disney movies.
great soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Great
still whistle
character.
that theme in the beginning of it from time to time.
Oh, Hummadiddy Diddy Day.
That's Hoodalali or whatever.
Or the Lolly. Yeah,
That's a
that's what
good one.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Oh man,
Did you
PJ.
find the video? Did you quit looking?
No, I couldn't find it. I mean, I'm sure I could, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. If anybody's
Alright.
interested, I'm sure they'll find it.
Has the UK got a finance curse?
Is it a trick question? Because the UK doesn't have finance. The City of London has, and it's not part of the UK.
Good answer. Good answer. It's international, he's right.
The City of London is outside the United Kingdom. Do you know that? It's really shocking. And therefore, it's also not part of the EU, which explains although it couldn't be part of the EU because you have to have democratic elections, and the City of London doesn't, right? It's the banks that have the votes, right?
Right.
Per staff, the
Is that
voting
fact? I
system.
never knew
How
that.
do you start unpicking this puzzle?
I never knew that. That's a very useful piece of
And
information.
of course, it's not part
It's
of
a
the
pretty dangerous piece of information.
And it's not part of the UK because the Queen is not allowed to enter without permission. She's not the sovereign, therefore it's not part of the UK. It's you know. And of course, that's since 1688,
I have to make another.
since the foreign invasion.
There you go, David. That dinner you're going to tonight, just drop that in.
All right, we'll bring up the portal and talk about the
Oh
portal.
yeah, let's talk about this wild portal.
I'll find that fucking video.
Let's talk about this crazy thing.
It's funny. I found it on my first Google search, bud.
Hey man, my Google skills are a little lacking nowadays.
Do you want me to email it to you or text it to you?
Either or is fine.
All right, I sent you the short one, the one that you showed me. So it's only like 50 seconds.
Okay, cool.
But-
I might be able to insert it later if you want, but I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah, do that. That's cool. Do that. All right, let's move on to this.
Yeah, it's only like maybe 50 seconds, so I'll insert it later, so people can see it, so they understand what we're talking about. So yeah, this OnlyFans model. What is this portal thing, by the way? I just heard about it recently.
It's like a live. I believe it's a live camera. It's Portal.
So it's literally just a camera between Dublin and New York. So that
I believe
like
I
a
believe
public
so.
camera, so people can just see each other and wave hi and whatever.
I didn't dig enough into it because I don't care. Besides a few things I might have heard or scanned over, I got the general principle of what the thing is. And then, but this is the only picture you see is this chick.
Yeah, that's the only reason it made big news on my feed is just because this OnlyFans model's apparently flashed everybody in Dublin.
Yeah, I think she did it within 24 hours. Because I remember the original story.
Personally, I just find it funny. Oh yeah, so what? She showed off a couple of her boobs, so big deal. You know.
Have you ever watched Timcast before?
No.
All right. Well, one of the dudes that's a regular guest on there is the lead singer of, I don't know, some fucking rock band that you and Michelle would know, but I have no idea what it is.
Oh, is it metal? Yeah, we probably do.
Yeah, but she was surprised that he was on there. But it'll come to me probably in a minute. But he's on another show called like Pop Culture, and they talk about. So that comes up in my feed sometimes because of him.
Gotcha.
And it's, I don't know, pop culture gossip nonsense, but that's how I kept seeing it because I would see the highlight or the thumbnail. You know, you leave it on for too long, it starts to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're
There
hovering
you
over it for too long, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously this is a really cool novelty. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know if are people mad about this? About her exposing her top half on, or
I think they're shutting it down so it doesn't happen anymore. Read the article, butthead.
Well, I'm trying to talk to you, and
I just told you I didn't know. I just told you I didn't know. I just knew what it was.
I'm just asking questions. I'll look into it a little bit later. People's like general reaction to it. Like I said, for me, I just think it's funny. Oh man, it's just a couple boobs. It's no big deal, people.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just her. I think it's because they don't want other people doing it. The whole point was to like wave to some asshole in Dublin. And this chick is all like, let me see. I think it would
This
get
chick takes it
tired
to the next
eventually.
level.
Yeah, well, she did it to get her OnlyFans famous.
Of course she did.
Yeah, but, okay, well, she ruined it for everybody, Paul.
Well, her plan worked because we're talking about her right now. Don't know her name. Not gonna.
Yeah, but I'm never gonna sign up for her OnlyFans.
No, of course not. But still, I'm sure she got a lot of extra followers after this.
You know who makes a ridiculous amount of money on OnlyFans? The chick who played Adriana in The Sopranos.
Oh, really? I didn't even know
Yeah,
she was on.
yeah. You ever watch The Sopranos?
I've seen episodes of it. I know it's
All right,
kind
you
of
know
weird.
Christopher's
being Italian in New
girlfriend.
Jersey and all
Christopher's girlfriend. Anyway, she had a huge role in the thing, and everybody loved her back in the
that.
day.
Yeah, I know who she is. Yeah.
But she
Or I
makes-
know I can see her face.
Yeah, but she makes a fucking killing on
course.
OnlyFans.
She's a famous person. She's taking her clothes off in front of the camera, I'm assuming,
I don't
in
know.
addition to
I
whatever
don't-
else she's doing.
Look, I don't watch this. I don't know what she does. I'm not sure if she gets naked on it or not.
I just have the assumption that most people on OnlyFans get naked, and then many of them take that way further. But I don't know. Maybe she doesn't get naked. Maybe she's in lingerie or something. I have
Let me
no
ask you
idea.
this: Have you ever looked at OnlyFans before?
I've seen one or two accounts.
For how long?
A minute, two, maybe. I worked with
See, I
a
don't-
girl or
I
two
don't-
that was
I don't
on
even
OnlyFans.
look at it. Like besides like something that scrolls through my feed, I've never really seen it. but I have seen older versions of naked women, and then you pay them $10 and they do what you want. But it was
Yeah.
more like it wasn't like classy like OnlyFans. It was like off a dirty porn site.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of those nowadays. With the
I know
live
I'm
cams,
saying, but
but
this is what it used to be. Like I
yeah,
remember back when I sold mortgages in East Hanover, the one guy used to put it on. There'd be like 10 dudes looking at her and just messing with her.
I think, yeah, I think initially the reason OnlyFans blew up, from my understanding, I don't really know. I haven't researched it. I don't even really know much about it. But I think initially what had happened was OnlyFans, this platform, was actually paying its members, very well. I think, which is why a lot of the, probably mostly women, but no doubt there's guys on there too, flocked over to OnlyFans, only to have, I think maybe a year or so later, whatever it was, only for them to reduce the amount that they were paying out. But I think initially that was the attraction to OnlyFans, and that's why it
Oh,
blew
I
up
don't
the
know.
way it did.
I
I
just
don't know. I don't know.
I just know these bitches can go on there and sell pictures of their feet for thousands of dollars.
Well, yeah, it's always going to be a thing.
That's crazy.
It is. I mean, what's really crazy? The girl that's selling the picture of her feet, or the dude that's buying it?
The dude is paying $1,000. The dude is paying $1,000 for
That's
6 feet.
that to me is crazy. I don't
Yeah.
blame the women at all. If I could sell
Yeah.
pictures of my feet and get paid for it,
Fuck yeah.
oh my god, all day. I'll quit my job right now.
Well, I'm hoping that this thing blows up and I can just talk shit all day and get paid for it.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Obviously we're not doing this for money. We're doing this to share information, but obviously if I don't have to work,
I'm
I can spend more
doing it
time
so
making
other
videos.
people. I'm doing this so my wife doesn't have to listen to me talk about it all the time, and I'll just talk to you about it.
That definitely helps. It's a good release. So you don't have to talk politics and stuff to people who maybe really don't want to have that conversation.
Oh, she's tired of it. It's called info dumping. Every time I learn something like awesome, she comes home from work. I'm like, babe, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Let me tell you what Israel did today. It's fucked
Oh,
up.
your poor wife. This
Yeah, I
has been
know.
going on for years. But she's still with you though, so
Well, yeah. Bless her heart.
bless her heart.
All right, what else do we have? Lindsey Graham with the nukes.
Oh yeah,
This
let's pull up Lindsey Graham. Say goodbye to only fans models for today. All right. So you want to talk about this warmonger real quick?
I think the title kind of says it all. This fucking dipshit.
It kind of does.
And he's shaking hands with Netanyahu, and like double, like who? Even if I agreed and I hated the Palestinians, hypothetically, you nuke like, and you're in Israel. Like it's not like it's Hiroshima and it's across the Pacific Ocean. It's
Yeah,
like
he wants to nuke the beach.
Yeah, it's like
the country that
Mount
they're already in.
It's like Mount Olive nuking Roxbury. You know what I mean?
Man, this is ridiculous. I don't care what angle we're looking at. This is ridiculous. You want to support weapons transfers to Israel that give them the ability to destroy the underground tunnels, bunkers, and hiding places of the cowardly terrorists you have supported and financed. Haven't we played this game already? Didn't we already try doing this?
They just got more money. So did Ukraine. Not the bill that passed like last week or 10 days ago. Like yesterday. Like 1 billion there and 2 billion there, something like that.
This is just another excuse for them to just kill people, essentially. I mean, would they blow up a hospital or bomb the hospital or two or something like that, trying to allegedly going after Hamas because Hamas apparently is hiding in hospitals?
Yeah, but they've also hit refugee camps, like refugee camps.
And maybe Hamas is, even if they are hiding in hospitals and refugee camps. What's our solution? To just bomb them? Yeah, let's just kill everybody else too while we're at it, because at least we got Hamas.
Well,
sorry, everybody else that died. My bad. It's ridiculous.
That's what they're doing.
I know. It's ridiculous.
I saw today the U.S. is trying to basically bribe the Saudis to open relations back up with Israel because that would calm everybody back down, and basically the Palestinians will still get screwed over at the end of it. But apparently that Saudis aren't biting, and Blinken, the Secretary of State, excuse me, our Secretary of State, was like implying that the deal is almost in the works, and then the guys from Saudi Arabia are like, no, 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 not gonna happen. I don't know what this dude's talking about.
Oh, man, the real question here is why are people like this? Why are they in power? Who this is ridiculous. Actually, this makes me sick. Just even looking at it. I'm not even gonna take it off the screen. I don't even want to look at it anymore. These are the people running the show right here. That's their solution. No, let's bomb it. Let's kill everybody. But we'll get the bad guys too. So.
I heard a good comparison today. It's like these dudes are like playing Risk with a lot of lives.
That's a good analogy. Just yeah, exactly.
What's another? Well, it's hard to judge the numbers because everyone complains about it, right? But there's at least 30,000 people killed in Gaza. It's probably way higher than that, and that doesn't count the unaccounted for people who are like buried in the rubble from all the buildings that have come down.
And again, there's people dying on both sides, and I don't understand. Like, I don't understand it from Hamas's perspective. So you're mad about whatever you're mad about. So your solution is to kidnap innocent civilians and kill them? That's the solution?
Well,
and then coming back from the Israeli side, oh, well, we need to take out Hamas. So, hey, if we take out a bunch of innocent civilians in the process, I just don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not just it's the government of Israel, but
yeah, it's not the Israeli people. I'm pretty sure that want to.
No, hold on, I'll get there.
Go ahead.
A lot of it is the Israeli people now, because there are videos of the aid trucks they're supposed to get through. Civilians have been stopping those trucks for quite some time now.
Israeli civilians?
Israeli civilians are stopping the trucks of aid to get into Gaza, and they have been. And lately, they've even upped their game, and they're putting all types of like heavy rocks in the road, all down the road. Rocks, so the trucks can't get out. And if you might want to add this later or Google it, or I don't care, but if you look at Google Israeli civilians Gaza aid block party, and there's a video of these people like outside the gate not letting the food trucks in, having a fucking party.
Yeah, that's awesome, people. That's something to celebrate.
Israel has blocked the free movement of people and goods in and out of the Gaza Strip for almost 2 decades. Now, Israeli civilians have started their own blockade. Dozens of protesters have demonstrated outside a major Israeli seaport, opposing the delivery of humanitarian aid. They demanded truck drivers tell them where their goods were heading. It's not clear if any aid deliveries were affected.
Look, I don't. You live there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, again, it's fortunate for us that we don't live there, and
yeah.
I mean, I think that's why many people just don't care. But what if you did live there? What if your mom lived there? What if your daughter lived there?
Don't do that. Don't do that. What if your mom lived there? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter, because if your mom lived there, it matters. You know what I'm saying? Not you per se, but these people that, oh, we'll just nuke Gaza. Well, would Lindsey Graham say that if he had family there or loved ones there? I'm pretty sure he'd be singing a different tune. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he would still nuke it anyway. Sorry, Mom. Got to take out the bad guys.
I'm talking about Israelis and Palestinians.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little bit of a different kind of motivation between the two of them of why some of this is happening. Some people are like religion believer type stuff, and then there's innocent civilians too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, it seems to me that these are just like simple divide and conquer tactics again that are been used upon us for.
Well, here let's be honest with the situation, right? Let's look at it exactly what's happening. At one point, the British owned the area, and they took it and put a bunch of Jewish people there, who disrupted the people there were people there beforehand. Those people had to move. If that happened to you, you'd be pretty pissed. And then on top of it, you treat them like shit for 75 years. I get it's your religion. You're mad about that. Fine. But the reality of it is that you're there now, they got moved. So you either fight it out or you divide that shit up.
Well,
And when
yeah,
you divide it up, allow the Gaza Strip to become its own entity, a state, if you will, so we can trade and have diplomatic relations. Like they can't trade. They don't control the water that comes in. None of that shit. When they say it's an open air prison, it's pretty accurate.
whatever it is, for me, it's really sad. I would like to just see us, talking and
Like
coming
I'm trying
to
to see it from both sides and be honest about it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter who got was there before 2,000 years ago. You're here now. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, yeah, we could say the same thing about, obviously the U.S. with Native
Yeah.
Americans and what's the solution?
Land's been conquered as long as there's been land.
Yeah, I got it. And what's the solution? I mean,
Even lions have territory.
yeah, it's complex though. It's not like, oh, we just give all the land back to the Native Americans and we just find somewhere else to live.
No, it's
because
just
that's
new
yeah,
game, new rules.
yeah, I get it. I don't know. I
happens.
think what the
It's been happening forever.
yeah, no argument. You are right. It's just like I said, I just find it all really sad. That we can't sit here and talk it out and come to some solution that benefits both parties, that both parties are okay with. Instead, we have war. Endless war essentially. This war's been going on for how long now? And I'm not
Right.
talking about October
And,
7th.
and
Obviously,
it's
it goes way back.
it's not gonna stop either because it's just how people fucking people.
Yeah, no, I mean they're killing each other. How is that going to stop anything?
No, I'm not talking about them in the that situation. I'm talking about the cycle of history, the rise and fall of empires, conquering of countries since the beginning of time.
So
There's
go ahead.
there's a pattern.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
my question is, now that we're in 2024 and, many of us are seemingly intelligent people and, we can actually work things out through speech, through words rather than violence. At what point do we say, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't need to cycle this, so to speak, anymore going forward. Is that a pipe dream? Like, am I in a pipe dream thinking that like we can work things out with words and not have to kill each other?
Okay, well let's talk it out, right? Hypothetically, somebody's gonna have to be like, okay, I won't punch you anymore if you stop punching me.
Exactly.
Okay, well, you can't control all the other little groups who are like, well, you just killed my whole fucking family in a bomb, and I lost everybody, and I'm pretty pissed about it. So
Well, that was
I'm gonna blow myself up in a market.
I think it was Elon. Didn't he
Hypothetically.
make that point about a month or two ago? He said every time you kill
Yeah, you
somebody on
make them
either
want it.
side,
Yeah.
you just create new,
Yes.
angry, yeah.
Yes.
So again, this, like you said, the cycle does repeat itself in that regard. And no doubt, even if we came to some sort of agreement, if Israel and Palestine made peace, right now, today, yeah, there's still going to be people on both sides that aren't going to be okay with that. And they're still going to do whatever they do, bombs in markets and all of this other stuff. And that's terrible. But I think it's important for us to maybe going forward to really try to deter people from doing that.
Well, you can't when the ones in power don't want that.
Well, they don't want it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they want war. I think Netanyahu has been pretty
Well,
clear about that.
countries like people, hypothetically, do things that are in their best interest.
That's fair. Speaking of war, so antiwar.com.
Yeah, good
Did you
site.
have I'm sorry, did you have anything else to add here? I should have asked you first.
Not on this topic, unless it keeps coming up. I mean, it's not like we can't talk
Well,
about
it
this
probably will
It's
because
probably
it's
on the
still
front page.
ongoing.
of anti-war.
Yeah, I would imagine that this topic's going to come up quite a bit, at least until it stops. So yeah, so antiwar.com.
Is there any way you can like half of it is like blank, is just white? Like
No,
from
that's
the-
no, that's the site. That's how it shows up on my
that's
on my
weird.
browser. It is weird. It's the only one that we've obviously come to so far that's done that, I think.
Oh, so if you scroll down a little bit, Hezbollah and the drones.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah, it's back up a little bit. You passed it, but
Oh,
Hezbollah.
this?
Hezbollah launches drones. I was watching this thing on drones the other day, and how this war, especially how Ukraine and Russia's like changed warfare because of the drones.
Those are the drones, yeah.
Yeah, drones and smart bombs.
I saw some of these drone videos. I don't know if they're AI or they're legit, but man, they're really disturbing. There's one where there's a guy outside of like what looks like a military vehicle, and this drone literally chases him around the vehicle. He's running from it because he sees it, and the thing gets close enough and just detonates itself and kills this dude. Is that what we're working? Is that AI or is that what we're working with nowadays?
Probably because
terrible.
I've seen plenty of the drone up and like over the guys in the foxhole and just drops and you see the bomb go woo, woo, on top of the guy's head in the fucking foxhole.
Man, this is like some Black Mirror shit. I don't know if you ever
They
watched
they
that
have
show, but
they
that's what it
have
looks like.
attack drones. They have spotter drones.
Oh, like for
Um,
reconnaissance.
well, yeah, but they'll work in like pairs because one has the bomb and one's higher up and is like,
Right. It
because
lets you know where the target is, so the other drone knows where to go. I get it.
yeah, but there's also a lot of strategy. Like you got to come in and around and hide yourself for a hot minute because there is some anti-drone
There.
tech.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but like there's a lot of Russians and Ukrainians. You'll see the videos, especially on Twitter. If you follow some of the war report stuff that I do, you'll see that like this stuff is thorough. Like I can see every day how the battlefield moved. And these guys know all the unit numbers and everything.
I'll have to look a little bit more into that, but yeah, I have seen a couple of the videos, and like I said, they're really disturbing.
Yeah, it's crazy. So so Iran is like that's like their baby. They pump out a decent quality drone. I forget the name of it. But they're sharing all that info with the Russians and they're building their own Russia's building their own factory to build drones based off of the Iranian drone. And I believe the Russians are probably giving them a little bit of nuclear tech, a little bit of airplane, whatever. You know what I mean?
So while we're on the subject of Russia, just real quick, what do we always hear, from the mainstream people is that, Putin wants to conquer the globe, take over the whole world, and if we don't stop him in Ukraine, he's gonna, do another Hitler and try to conquer everybody and ultimately make his way over here. You got any thoughts on that? Is that
I
accurate?
No, I disagree with what I don't think that's his plan. I believe he's been more reactive as opposed to being offensive. I mean, even if you just go back through history. It's funny that you brought that up because I was going to research something for the show, but again, because we have this extra, the show came early. If you look up William Burr, William Burns memo 2008, it's one of the memos that Julian Assange is in trouble for. And it's the one that basically says it is a red line if you keep moving NATO. If you try to make Ukraine part of NATO, it will do this. This will happen. They will take Crimea first, and the next time you screw up, they'll take eastern Ukraine. And it happened. And he said that's a terrible idea. It was like Bush and Rumsfeld, and they had this secret memo going around that we're going to do all this. And then this dude, I forget what his position was, secretary of something or whoever. He's like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I think it's even called "niet." He calls it in Russian. Like no means no is
Yeah.
the name of the memo.
That's exactly what it is. You can see
Yeah.
it here. Yeah.
It's. I mean, I haven't dug into it yet because I really got it. Like I saw a bunch of this stuff today. It's just weird that you brought it up.
I didn't plan on bringing it up, but since we were kind of on the topic, yeah, I totally agree with you. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, but yeah, from what I understand is we've made promises to Putin, meaning the United States of America has made promises to Putin on at least 2 occasions that I've heard of, that we wouldn't move NATO or we wouldn't move any closer to Russia, and we've broken those agreements on 2 separate occasions. So
On purpose.
on purpose. So if you saw the interview with Putin and Tucker Carlson,
I
Putin
did.
talks about that. How basically we didn't really leave him much choice. We basically pushed him into a corner, and again. So the idea or the analogy that I like to look at is that if you corner a dog, and the dog bites you, is that the dog's fault, or is that your fault? That's kind of how I see it. So I think if we had just left Putin and Russia alone and we didn't expand NATO, this whole war in Ukraine is
Well,
probably not happening. I can't say for sure.
Yeah, things would have gone differently.
They probably would have, and we wouldn't have this Ukrainian-Russian war that we have now. So again, I don't want to like point fingers, but like when you look at like what led up to the Ukraine-Russia war, who's at fault here? And there's more than one finger to be pointed, but
Yeah, the West.
the West is largely responsible. The West and its allies were largely responsible for.
So the United States and UK basically.
Yeah. And Putin even said that on the interview. He said, "You guys always make us your boogeyman." He's like, "We are trying to trade and do business with you guys.
Listen,
but you guys keep making us your ultimate villain," is essentially what he said.
you gotta remember that some of the shit coming from him is still shit.
Oh, sure,
he
it's
does,
Putin, but
he does make some excellent points. His story in the beginning made a lot of sense. I get the resemblance of what he was trying to get
the
at.
whole history of Russia Ukraine, that was pretty interesting.
The story he was telling of why he's justifying the war, besides the
broken promise.
encroachment on the NATO,
Right.
is that because Russia's fucking old. So hundreds of thousands of years ago, whenever it was 600 years ago, there was a group of part Russian people who reached out for help against somebody else, and then because they were Russian, the Russians went and saved them. So like kind of on that same ticket, because after Stalin had his whole thing, he was pumping Russians in all over the territory, right? So a lot of ethnic Russians moved into Ukraine, especially eastern Ukraine, because that's where the border is. So now there's a lot of Russians in there. Putin's like, I'm saving my people, my nation, the Russian nation of people. So he's like, they asked for help, and I answered.
I've heard that narrative. Again, it's really hard to know what to believe, but yes, I've heard that many of the Ukrainian people actually did want to go back to be part of Russia, and then I've heard the opposite, and we've all heard the mainstream narrative. I don't really know, man. It's hard to know, what's true and what's not true.
Well, the one they call them oblasts. I think they're like states, like states for us.
Mm-hmm.
Jersey and New York, like territories. I think they're called oblasts, but there was one of them like already voted that they wanted to go back to Russia regardless after. So there's like 4 of them that Russia has now, and not counting Crimea, is what they took since they invaded, and now they're encroaching into the next set of oblasts.
I've heard that, yeah.
So right now, because the war is about to end soon enough, they're jockeying for position. So when the day comes that they have to end the war and have a ceasefire, you're more powerful position. You have more leverage. Not like they don't have enough leverage as it is the Russians, but still, they'll probably end up giving back everything to the 4 oblasts, and they'll keep Crimea, obviously. And then that eastern border section is going to go. But I don't think they're going to go any farther, because once you go farther, you eventually run into Ukrainians, like Ukrainians.
Right, yeah. If that narrative is to
So,
be
like,
believed, then yeah,
well,
you'll
even-
run into people that don't want to be part of Russia.
Yeah, so there would be a point of Ukraine that Putin would want to stop at, because it's not
Doesn't have the
easy.
support
It's
anymore.
not easy to hold territory anymore like that. You know what I mean? It's not like Russia can take over the Ukraine and then like, oh, okay, everything's cool. It's a headache to try to have a military occupation of a country that's not happy with you doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because then you're constantly fighting against those people.
Yeah, it's a headache. So he'll stop where the Russians stop, and then he'll deal with whatever's there.
He did say that too. He did say that he has no intentions upon marching any further. I forgot what point he said, but he said that hey, we're going to go here, and then we have no intentions on going anywhere further than that, unless the West, attacks us, or he said something along those
Well,
lines. That's not exactly what he said.
that line is come and gone, is what I'm saying. Because when he took the first 4 oblasts and offered peace or whatever a whole bunch of times, and eventually he came to the point where, like, if you're going to keep funding them, I'm going to keep going. So this offensive that they've got going on right now for the last month or so, they're gaining territory fast in little chunks, but it's happening at a faster
Much
rate than
faster
it's
rate,
been
yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's because a lot of the people over there that were fighting are no longer
Do
fighting.
you watch the Enforcer on YouTube? Remember that guy?
Sounds familiar? Maybe?
Anyway, his whole YouTube channel, it's always just a map, and then it's him and his buddy talking, and then they have all these little markers on the map that the news stories are. But I guess they pay for some kind of satellite intelligence because they can see like super Google Earth of Russia, and then they have like it's like red and blue how the territory moves like in a video game. Think of like Civilization. So they're like, this is the train yard, and the Russians moved and advanced into the train yard, and now they own this part, and they also advanced up here, so they took this part, and now they're on this hill, so they can take this, and this, and then he just goes through, and he goes, all the news reports are from like Twitter or whatever, and he always has the videos, and he's like, this is from a platoon of Ukrainian soldiers in Kharkiv, and this is the video someone got blown up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if you want to pay for some of that shit, like you can really get detail of the war day by day.
I mean, that stuff makes me sad, so I think I have enough war information that than I really want.
I just, dude, it's like it's just history that's happening today.
And I
You
know,
know?
I know. It just makes me really sad. Again, here we are, like,
You gotta walk that shit off, man.
oh
You gotta
man,
get over.
I get up and put my pants on every day. I put
You gotta get over it.
my big boy pants on. Do I have to be happy about this? Do I have to like this? I mean,
No,
still go about my day, still do what I got to do. But yeah, this stuff makes me really upset. It makes me sad. Yeah, one other thing somebody said something about Poland or whatever, and then I think he addressed it on the Tucker Carlson interview, where he said we have no intention of invading Poland at all, unless
Same reason.
Poland. What's that?
same reason, because
Yeah, unless Poland attacks us, that's totally fair. If this dude punches me in the face, I'm gonna punch him in the face. Okay,
it's
I
the
got no problem
non-aggressive.
with that.
It's the non-aggressive principle.
Yeah, I got no
That's part
problem
li-
with that. So
That's part libertarian too.
a lot of people are gonna say that we're Russian sympathizers. But at the end of the day, really, I just like to gather all of the perspectives.
Well,
Let me get your side of the story. Let me get yours, and then I'll try to use critical thinking and logic to put the puzzle together myself.
yeah, well, technically, Russia is wrong for invading Ukraine,
Oh, of course.
but this is why they did it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Russia
Yeah.
started the physical confrontation, but again, there's reasons as to why they started it. Like
And
I
your-
said, if you
and
push
your
a dog in
entire
a
life-
corner,
Your entire life, we've grown up thinking that Russia's the bad guy. Just like when Al Qaeda hit 9/11, they hate us because of our freedom. That's not why they blew the buildings
that's
up.
ridiculous.
Well, that was the thing. I bit into it.
Who blew? So
I
did
was
I.
all,
So
I
did
was
I.
all like, "Yeah, kill them."
Yeah, they got me too. Who blew the
might-
buildings up?
Actually, I was going to talk about this. It was years ago when your dad lived in West Milford, right? Is that where he lived?
Yeah, he lived in West Milford. Yeah.
It was one of the times that, like, I don't think either of us could even drive yet, or maybe you did.
No,
I don't
yeah,
know. We were
no.
out there, and it was like he had a barbecue, and you and me stayed out late, and we were arguing about the Vietnam War. Do you remember that?
I do, man. I had a.
And I
We were
was
taking
so,
shots at tequila. Was it that night? At like
yeah, and
3 in the
Gloria-
morning.
and
Terrible
Gloria's
idea.
yelling at us out the window to be quiet. And I'm like, we did it to stop communism. And I was so gung ho about it. I never forget that for some reason.
I
so
never
fucking-
forget that night for different reasons. I actually went to a Yankee game the next day, and yeah, well,
Uh-huh.
I actually met Steve Urkel, and I was,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, I was covered in vomit, so he refused to shake my hand, which was
Okay.
I'll never forget it. So, and that
Yeah,
I blame
but
you.
I remember the being all supportive of like Vietnam was a good idea. You know, I mean, I bit into it.
I mean, when was the last like noble war that we were in? I mean, World War II. I mean, when was
Kind
the
of,
last time the United States went to war and you were like, "Hey, it was a good thing we actually jumped into this fight"? When was the last time that happened?
if you want to argue World War II, I guess you can, but it's not like we didn't antagonize the Japanese to come after us.
Yeah, and they knew. We knew that they were
The
coming.
Japanese, we cut off all their oil, and they don't have any oil, and they're a war machine that runs on oil. So we basically baited them into attacking us because we couldn't hit first to get the people behind it.
Right. I mean, again, that's no different than two people in the bar where one guy is antagonizing the hell out of somebody and then the dude punches him in the face. It's like, well, yeah, man, you were all up in his face talking all this shit and he punched you.
No, it's
I'm
different.
dumbing it down, of course. A lot of people died. It wasn't a joking manner. In
No,
World War
what
II.
I'm saying is the way it happened is on the low. Roosevelt and them and the state, whatever, purposely cut off the oil for the Japanese, forcing them to attack us because without the surprise attack, the Americans weren't going to get into it.
Right.
You know, 9/11. You needed the country to unite behind a tragedy. Look at the the war with the Spanish American War, right? Remember the Maine? They said they blew up
Yeah.
we blew up the own boat.
They've been using the same tactics on us for decades now, and
Yeah.
possibly even longer. And for some reason, they always work on us.
Somebody always hit us first.
Yeah, and again, it's not that we didn't provoke them in many of these cases. We absolutely did. There's something else with Japan too. Like, I was watching something a while back about why Japan actually initially, because Japan was at war with China,
Yeah.
and they were kind of like in a stalemate. China, and if I remember correctly, they were in like some sort of a stalemate, and Japan could either go back and stop the war and go back to Japan with absolutely nothing, nothing gained. They would have had to forfeit all of the land or whatever that they, and that's never good for morale in your population. Or they had to join Germany, which is ultimately what they did, obviously. So it wasn't to say that like Japan and Germany, like their ideologies were the same or any of that stuff. Japan was just in a weird circumstance where they basically had to make a decision, and unfortunately, the decision they made resulted in a lot more people dying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, when the Germans were doing their thing, they're like, we might as well take advantage of this situation, or it's never going to happen for us.
Well, Japan was beneficial to Germany because Japan helped control the Pacific. Because again, the Americans weren't in the war at this time, and Japan had a pretty big navy. So it would make sense from the Nazi perspective to.
The Pacific's the wrong side of the world for Germany.
Yeah, but if you're trying to conquer the whole globe, you're going to need to conquer the Pacific at some point.
But
Anyway.
you're working in Europe, and you're trying to stop the Americans who were not helping by sending supplies over all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was an Atlantic War until the
Japan
Japanese
got involved. Yeah,
but
no, you're right.
But we baited them, and one of the dudes in Roosevelt's cabinet had a journal or wrote a book or did whatever he did, remembering the time before the attack, and he's like, I really hope it's like an attack on Pearl, because if it ends up being something else, the people aren't going to get behind it. He's like, we need this plan to work, even though he was against it. But he was remember being nervous about it because it had to work out a certain way, or the people weren't going to get
Behind it. Right?
behind the war.
And if you don't have the support, you don't go to war. And then military-industrial complex, they don't make any money. There's World War II is, I think there's a couple pieces of the puzzle missing. I've been doing a little bit of research on it here and there lately. I'm not, a World War II historian or any of that stuff, but it seems to me that there's some pieces that are
Talking to your mic more.
It just seems to me that there's some pieces of the puzzle that are missing.
Of course.
So yeah.
Where's all the gold? Where's all the art? Where's all the stuff?
Yeah.
Where's all the Nazis in South America?
And did Hitler really kill himself? I don't know.
I've heard that one too, but I don't know enough about that.
I don't either. And I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I did watch a YouTuber go and try to find his location, which is near the German town in Argentina, if you're familiar with it. So there's a town in Argentina. Look it up.
Yeah, I
It's not
remember
a
this.
joke.
You're assuming that Hitler got out.
No, I'm not assuming anything. I'm just questioning whether he did or he didn't. So, anyway, long story short, there's this town in Argentina. It's all German architecture, all that stuff, and that's
I remember.
widely considered where all of the Nazi party fled to after the war, right? Whether that's true or not, but I feel like it's widely regarded that that's a thing nowadays.
Well, they were
But-
they were friendly beforehand.
They were sympathetic to the Nazi cause.
Well, even
Argentina was, yes.
before that, like as nation states,
Oh, okay, you're saying it went back even further.
there was trade.
Gotcha. So anyway, yeah. So they had a relationship stemming back before then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
In any
They
case-
hit Argentina.
Yeah. So long story short, this YouTuber guy, I should probably try to find the video and insert it later, but it might be a little too long. So, but anyway,
Yeah, well,
so he goes to this town, right? And he's some of the, I don't know if anybody still lives there, but he goes into like one of the neighboring towns where like the locals live. And this is, Argentinian architecture. They're speaking Spanish, the actual locals that have been there for generations, most likely.
German architecture, speaking Spanish.
Well, no, he's left the German town. He's hunting
Alright,
for Adolf Hitler's.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
So anyway, and I don't know if it's his compound or not, but on his way to this compound, what got me was the YouTubers like, oh, hey, Adolf Hitler, Nazi, and he keeps repeating because he doesn't speak Spanish. Oh, Nazi, Adolf Hitler, like asking the locals, like, it's the form of question. And the locals, they're not even surprised. They're like, oh, yeah, Adolf Hitler. And then they just point in a direction. And he asked maybe 2 or 3 of them, and they all point in the same direction. And this dude winds up at this compound. There's like 3 houses there. There's like a barn, whatever. The point is that they didn't even hesitate. Like the behavior of the locals, the dialogue coming from the locals, it just sounded kind of normal, which got me thinking like, did Hitler really kill himself?
What else?
Maybe
all
he
right,
did.
hold on. Let's go at the story, right? Well, I didn't see the video. So, how remote is the village?
It looks to me like this guy's on a concrete road, but
But
it's surrounded by forests. So, go ahead.
So it's a little bit away from civilization.
It looks like it is. Now, how far away? I don't know. 50 miles,
well,
5 miles? Who
The
knows?
first thing I thought about when all the natives in the town are like, "Oh yeah, it's over there. Oh yeah, Hitler, that way, gringo, that way," is he's obviously not the first dude to go there. So maybe it's like, "Oh yeah, go see the New Jersey Devil on the train tracks."
Oh
down
yeah,
there."
could very
Like-
well be. Yeah,
They're touristy. Like they just want you to keep coming.
could
because
very
they
well
got
be.
nothing else in town.
Or maybe they don't know what Hitler means and they just assume every Nazi is Hitler. I don't know. But I'm not saying that he killed himself, but I'm questioning it now.
Yeah, they're
So
like they're like crazy tourists. Just go that way.
Yeah, you stupid Americans, go. Yeah, it's that way. So, but who found Hitler? Wasn't it the Russians that were the first ones in?
I don't remember.
I don't either. I thought the Russians were the first people into allegedly wherever he had shot himself and his wife and whatever.
Don't recall. As far as I can remember, is that like he killed himself, and then the next layer of administration contacted the Allies, and the Russians were like, all right.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
the-
that's the story that we were kind of told. Hitler killed himself, and many of his associates were either jailed or imprisoned, and which we know is really not true. You ever heard of NASA? Those are all the Nazi scientists that they basically took from Germany, and they formed NASA.
One of these books back here, it's called 6 Months in 1945, and it is about Roosevelt, Stalin, and Churchill go to like this compound, this estate, like a castle, like at the end of the war, to start talking about how they're going to chop up the fucking world. You know what I mean?
Right.
and I don't remember. I read it so long ago, and it's only because it's up there that I even thought about it. But there was a lot of like weird shit that went on. But one thing I do remember is that like Churchill was mad paranoid because Roosevelt and Stalin were like talking behind his back, trying to, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were all the people, all the bigwigs were at this castle in wherever, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they were hashing out how to chop up the new world.
Did you ever see that Churchill quote too? I always found it kind of odd. I'm not really sure who he was talking about, if it's the Russians or something else.
Which one?
Where after the war is over, I think Churchill says something like, "We defeated the wrong enemy." Something weird, like he says something really cryptic like that.
I don't remember, but I think it might have to do with the Russian problem.
Could be. I think that's how most people always took it. Is that, oh yeah, we defeated Hitler, but really Stalin is the real enemy. I don't know, but
Well, I think it created a new one or whatever.
or maybe that was it. Maybe that's what he meant. I don't
I
know.
don't remember the
Obviously, he's
quote.
no longer here, so we can't ask him. What exactly he meant by that. But I always found that comment to be really interesting.
Well, I'm gonna
What do you mean,
assume
Winston? What does that mean?
I'm going to assume that it has to do with the Russians because they UK was in bed with the Americans after the war.
Right.
We're like, if one of our key allies, like friends, really is the Brits, way more than Israel, I would say.
Well, yeah. The obviously the UK and the United States have had good rapport for quite a long time now. Oh, so yeah. I don't know. World War II is like, again, it's super complicated. There's a whole lot going on there. So,
What a lot has to do with Bretton Woods, and that was the final conversation where everybody got together after the war and chopped up the world. And it was about how to reset the world economy on the U.S. dollar, and that's how we became the reserve currency. But again, it has to do with central banking because that's who's at the end of the golden brick road, man. The money masters.
banking.
Money masters.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to watch a great video, watch Money Masters on YouTube. It's like 3 hours and it's cheesy because it's old looking, but it gives you the history of money.
Good information. Is that the one you
Yeah.
sent me?
Yeah, the long one.
The one that starts with like where they're like using sticks and stuff to trade in the beginning, and then the powers that be are like, "Yo, hold up a second. We're gonna completely revamp this," because they wanted control over it.
There's the 3 hour one, 3.5 hour one, which is Money Masters, which is like the
Basically, the history of currency.
but it's like the movie to watch. Remember in Hackers, it's like the big red book. Like you're supposed to know these books to be a hacker.
Right.
So think about it like that. Like if you want to understand the Fed, you probably should watch this film, or at least the money.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I do remember watching like the first 30 or 40 minutes of it, and yeah, it deals with like the history of currency, and then it jumps into like the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, then there's eventually gives you like the Bank of England and the Rothschild scenario if you watch the whole thing.
Right.
But the other one that I've sent you is just an hour, and that's from Learn Liberty YouTube channel. Just do Learn Liberty in the Federal Reserve, and the hour video will come up. It's really good.
We'll hold off on that because I know you have a lot to say about the Federal Reserve. I know a little bit, but you know a whole lot more than I do.
End that bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree. So something else that happened that's interesting is Tulsi Gabbard on Oval Office. I know you were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, it was from.
Or on The View, rather.
Yeah, she did it a couple weeks ago, but whatever I saw it on showed it up, and I just thought it'd be funny for.
Yeah, do you want to play a little bit of it?
Nah, we'll clip a clip and talk about that because it's kind of long.
Well, it's 5 minutes and 50 seconds. We don't have to run the whole thing.
All right, you can just watch the first 30 seconds, I guess.
Okay. Let's see what Tulsi has to say.
They're all talking shit about her, and she's calling them out for it.
Of course they are. That's what those hens do. you're not down with their agenda, they don't say nothing nice about you.
Things out. I've never said, and I don't think Hillary Clinton thinks that you're a witting asset. You might be an unwitting asset. Not that that means you're stupid, but people can be used.
That's exactly what it means, though.
But
That's exactly what it
the
means.
other thing that
And
confuses me, wait, I have one more question. You're on state TV all the time. Why do you go on
What's
Fox
TV?
Fox Channel, which is a
trying to reach out to another
propaganda network, 16 times with Tucker
Right.
Carlson? I never see you with Chris Wallace or that other guy, what's his name, Brett Baer.
Well,
Why aren't you on with them? They're definitely.
I'm sorry, did she just call Fox News propaganda? I mean, it is, but
Well, yeah.
how is this not propaganda? Wow.
and Tucker.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Middle of the road. Why do you go on with Tucker, who's a liar and a propagandist?
So let me start with how offensive it is to say that I am a witting or unwitting asset of a foreign country, working against the interests of our people and our country, the
Not
country that
deliberately.
I am willing
Not
to lay my
deliberately.
life down for. So if you're saying it's not deliberately, then you are implying
It could be.
that I am too stupid and too naive and lack the intelligence
No.
to know what I am doing. That is extremely offensive
Can I get you to put
me
the
and
quote
to
up?
every
Can you
woman
guys
of color.
put the quote back up? Because I think everyone is sort of missed something.
What are we missing?
Well, I think what you're missing is that that asset had nothing to do with Tulsi. She was talking about Jill Stein.
Actually, her
said and an asset.
You're evil.
spokesperson confirmed it.
I'm not making it.
They
it's not
called
even
you a
get started
Russian
on Hillary.
doll.
Her spokesperson confirmed
We
it
don't-
because some of the media followed up and asked for her spokesperson to say what she meant and confirmed that they were talking about me. So there was no mistaking that.
Right. Okay, well, that's
Okay,
clear.
well, the
Well, I
quote that
thought-
we saw, I'm sorry, I just want to point out the quote that we saw wasn't.
Well, they
said
never
she's
named
also
her.
a
They never
Russian
named
doll.
Tulsi.
She's saying her and
She's
Jill Stein.
talking, assuming Jill Stein will give it up,
Why
but
are
she
we
might not
rehashing
because
this?
she's also a Russian
I mean,
asset.
this
It's
was
crazy.
after that quote was made.
Right.
Media across spectrums
Went
were
berserk.
reporting about what
right,
Hillary
that's
Clinton
enough.
just said about Tulsi
But I-
Gabbard. I want to.
Yeah, I was trying to let
You raised a
Tulsi
second
finish.
issue about why I go on Fox News.
Yeah.
I go on Tucker Carlson, go on Brett Baer, go on Sean Hannity, go on MSNBC, go on CNN. I am here to speak to every single American in this country about the unifying leadership that
Look
I
at
want
the
to bring as
fucking
president.
Priss
Not
on
just
Joy's face. That-
Oh my God, she just looks
She
miserable today.
sucks, dude.
She's terrible. I find that really ironic that we have somebody on The View saying that Fox News is propaganda, which that's hilarious to me. And notice again, we were just talking about this earlier, like all of the Russian stuff. Oh, he's a Russian asset, the Russians' favorite, what? Why does
Yeah,
Russia?
and-
Why
And
does
right to
Russia
her face.
care?
She's like, maybe you just don't know you're a Russian agent.
Yeah, you're so stupid that you don't even know that you're a Russian agent. What?
Right there.
Man, I'm really dumb. Oh, man. That show, I'm sure we're going to come back to The View in the future.
Yeah,
because
we can
there's
probably
just-
do clips for days on that thing.
There's just so much on there. None of it's news, really. It's just all just nonsense. Anyway, that's you got anything else that you'd like to add?
Nah, man, I'm fresh out.
This is probably a good time to kill episode 2 and come back to the next one.
Yeah, if this is going to be on YouTube, hit that like thing because I know it helps, but I don't know. Suck my balls, like it. I don't have to tell you.
Is that a choice, or you got to do both, or neither?
No, I prefer you don't at all because I didn't even shower today, so it's probably kind of gross. But I don't know. I know it helps, so hit it. Maybe it's over there. It's over there.
Or maybe up here. Or
Maybe it's
over
up there.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. I'm out.
Peace.